Is finally happening, folks, as we are witnessing the Phoenix Suns team that we all knew was in there from the start of the season. That is right, as key players like Devin Booker and Kevin Durant are stepping up when matters are needed most. But not only that, key rookies like Ryan Dunn, Osa Ighodaro, and even players like Cody Martin have made significant impacts off this bench to put the Suns into this stratosphere of once again feeling alive like we did at the start of the season. We're going to be diving in and looking at all this recent success, going over how fantastic this Phoenix Suns team has truly been over this recent stretch, and even over these last tough couple of games, how the outlook looks great for this Suns team going into the playoffs. We'll be diving into all of that and more on this episode of Suns Digest. I am Bruce Veliz, and you guys have been absolutely fantastic showing your love and support on the channel, which has been super appreciative over the last couple of weeks. I do apologize for the stagnant uploads, for no live last week, but we will be live once again this week, Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific time for all you guys over there in the Phoenix area. So if you want to make sure you stay up to date on everything revolving around this team, this is the place for you. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. Without further ado, let's dive in and let's get into the news at hand as we discuss this amazing Phoenix Suns team, as we have seen some beautiful basketball put on display over these last couple of contests, not only from the star players, like I mentioned, in Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, as Kevin Durant was just named the Western Conference Player of the Week this previous week after the Suns went 3-0. But not only have those stars been able to step up, but like I mentioned, those key role players, guys like Cody Martin, who have been injected into this rotation, have made a significant impact so far in what he's been able to do in those little plays of clogging those passing lanes, helping be a distributor, and helping be a connector on the defensive end alongside Ryan Dunn and Osa Ighodaro. We've also seen those two rookies, like I mentioned, in Osa Ighodaro and Ryan Dunn, really step up and deliver alongside a new player that has been introduced into the starting lineup, as he has been undefeated since the Suns have injected him. So let's dive in and let's get into all of this news as we break down this Suns team. And like I mentioned, this Suns team has been fantastic. They're on a 4-game win streak. They just capped off beating the Milwaukee Bucks in a thriller of a rematch of the 2021 finals, in which Devin Booker got to his spot left wide open and hit a fantastic mid-range. He had 4 points in that second half, and Kevin Durant had another 40-point bomb. But once again, the Suns find themselves in a spot where they could potentially move up. They sit with 4-win streak, but currently going into this game, going into tonight, could see themselves moving up, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But some key impacts that have been made for this Suns team have definitely been one with these rookies, and Ryan Dunn has been one of them. As you can see in the thumbnail, he got that dunk on Giannis, he got the dunk on Kyle Kuzma, and as we see over his last 6 games, he has been truly a steal for this Phoenix Suns team in the draft. The 28th overall pick, someone who was drafted to have no offensive really ability coming out of college, has clearly shaken that bridge, as he's been able to get, double-digit scoring points in that last 6 contests. But not only that, has been able to get some stocks, 4 steals, 3 steals, 1 block, 1 steal, shooting pretty good percentages as well, 63, 71% from the field, but also has a knack for the rebounds and helps being that offensive POA defender, awesome POA defender for this Suns team to help peel away at the perimeter. We also see from Cameron Cox here that this is the right group, Coach Bud. These healthy players keep building, keeping those rotations, period. And I would agree with Cameron here, because I think that this Suns team truly has it, what they've been running with guys like Osa Ighodaro, Ryan Martin. We did see the bring back of Grayson Allen last night, and he had some sporadic minutes alongside Royce O'Neal. And we can kind of get into a little bit what the Suns should be doing for the future, for this season and for the future of that. But ultimately, what we've seen with this is some real good things from the Suns. And as you can see in this tweet from Aaron, the Mavs and Kings both play tonight in a back-to-back, one taking on the Knicks and one taking on OKC. And this could help the Suns, as obviously we see the Suns in the 10th seed, but they both have owned the tiebreakers with the Kings and the Mavericks. So if the Kings were to lose, the Suns would own that tiebreaker and be currently sitting at 9th in the Western Conference, which would be huge once again to see with this team. Not only, like we mentioned, is it at least some sort of spark, some sort of life for the fans, but also gives us a little bit more of an inkling to making this playoffs. With the Suns being that home team playing in that 9-10 matchup versus Sacramento or Dallas, I feel a lot comfortable than them being on the road. And obviously, they would have to go on the road versus either the Clippers or the Timberwolves, whatever team falls in the 7-8, or if one of those teams from the top 6 does fall down at that point, with the Suns still being 5 or 6 games behind them, it would be a steep climb to get to that 8 seed. But that is something that is also not out of reach with this Suns squad either. We just have to look at it. And one thing to analyze, as we see from Brawadis, is that obviously what we've seen with these rookies, with Ryan Dunn, Osa Ighodaro, Caleb Martin, Colin Gillespie, has been seen as a nice injection. But we also know is that Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, surrounded by solid role players, were always the recipe for success, and that Beal trade screwed up the team so bad. And I would like to add that, obviously the Grayson Allen, DeAndre Ayton trade definitely fumbled with that as well. But clearly, we can see from Brawadis' tree and from these recent games that Kevin Durant and Devin Booker can work together, and that the Suns should be keeping to make this well-oiled machine stick. Even if Kevin Durant is getting older, he's showing no signs of age, as like we just said. He recently just won Player of the Week. He's been balling out offensively, dropping 40 points left and right for this Phoenix Suns team, and has been that number one initiator. When he gets the ball in his hands, you see him go into his spot, similar with Devin Booker, and they feel comfortable running within this offense. And Booker has also been that fantastic playmaker to help alongside some of those other role players, and obviously helping alongside Kevin Durant to making sure that he gets his buckets. So clearly, like we mentioned, these two can work together, and regardless of them getting older in age, it still is a clear sign that in this Western Conference, with the Suns going against their toughest part of the schedule this season, that they can still handle these opponents with the right rotational players and the right fits of need. Those defenders, those necessary bigs, the ones that can space, the ones that can pass, the ones that can help give that energy and affection on that basketball floor that we see every single night from this Phoenix Suns team. That heart, that hustle, and that was something that was missing with some of these guys that we had recently seen in this lineup. And with these injuries, it's really allowed those guys like Dunn, Oso Gordaro, Cody Martin to kind of emerge and find themselves these key rotation spots, and instill themselves as these key players for this Suns team. And like I mentioned, this Suns team obviously has Kevin Durant, has Devin Booker, and should still be pushing to keep that this season. Like I mentioned, we've seen the rise of Devin Booker and Kevin Durant so far these last couple weeks, and we've seen Devin Booker emerge as a playmaker once again this season, having his best playmaking stats of his entire career. So one thing I do want to note is that these two once again can work together. They should work together, and they should stay together. The Phoenix Suns should try to figure out every possible way to still move off of Bradley Beal's contract. I don't care if it's no trade clause. I don't care if it's $50 million. There's going to be some team that they can find mutual interest to do so, and they can still drop below that first apron, ladies and gentlemen, while still having Bradley Beal under roster. They could trade a player like Grayson Allen on draft night, Royce O'Neal on draft night, with moving those contracts and Vasilij Micic and Cody Martin, and still get underneath that cap, which once again would make it so much easier for the Suns to finesse and try to figure a way to move off this, destructive contract in Bradley Beal that is, kind of kept them landlocked into making big moves. We all know that the Suns were interested in Jimmy Butler. They couldn't get that done, obviously, due to the fact of Bradley Beal's contract, and the Miami Heat not wanting him. But I do think that with it shrinking down a little bit, it could be a little bit easier this season, and that's the Suns' main priority. But we're looking at this season, obviously. We know that this Suns team is still ready to go, still packing a punch, and is still looking dominant as ever. As like I mentioned, once again, they're looking on this hunt. They're on a 4-game win streak. And even though they have the defending NBA champions and the Boston Celtics in their next performance, the Suns should be looking to take advantage of this on their 4-game win streak, having Boston coming, obviously, to Phoenix. And I can't wait to see what they bring with that firepower. Obviously, Phoenix has a motive. We saw Ryan Dunn, talking post-game, wanting to push this playoffs, wanting to send a message, letting everyone know that this is the real Phoenix Suns team, and we are finally seeing it come alive as it's finally happening. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Let me know what you guys ultimately think on this Phoenix Suns team, as it's been a great adventure. Obviously, from the start to the end here, it's been a lot of tumultuous tracks, but we're finally getting closer to the end, and it's looking like we can see some bright spots trickle in. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section, how you guys feel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day, and go Phoenix Suns. Peace out, everyone.